Good morning. It is April the 18th, 2018, and we're looking at the price charts of AMP for all those people who are watching for these break in the downtrend, a potential 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breakout to occur, and the 3-month moving averages to cross over. Then your wait is finally come to an end. And it's difficult to trade this kind of pattern. There's been quite a bit of chop here in the moving average crossover. But as we zoom out further and take a look at the longer term view of this chart, we can see that this is just breaking out of quite a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation since December. This is the number 1 point. Now we have a number 2 point here in January, and prices have come back and made 3 hits off that number 3 point level, pretty much 2 good solid hits off that, making a double bottom there. And now prices are showing strength and crossing over those moving averages. So all of those things put together really make this into the beginning of a very long bull market. Now when we look back to a few years of data, this is the very tip of the iceberg, the very beginning of prices going up. And so this is the time to put on a small bit of your position and see how it goes. When prices come up and test these levels and then retrace, it'll come into another point to add on to that position What I'm going to do in this video is to review all of the price charts now to analyze when the buy signal came in specifically, because we have 3 conditions in the simple trading plan. We're looking for the end of a downtrend, we're looking for the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breakout, and these 3-month moving averages to cross over. This AMP market was actually a fairly difficult one to trade if you were jumping in and out because of this moving average crossover. When we move on to Ardor, we can see that this moving average crossover and the way the chart pattern has evolved was a simpler trade to put on that buy order just as the moving averages crossed over, and it would have turned out to be quite a fantastic entry point. Now again, I want to zoom back and take a longer term perspective of AMP so that we get an idea of what may happen after this kind of bowl-shaped formation. It may not moon yet. There may be more downtime and consolidation before the big stages upward. But again, this is right at the very beginning stages of the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breakout, the downtrend breach. The downtrend breached quite a long time ago and changed into a different downtrend. Now we have the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation is breaking out. And this is often the most dangerous time to put on a trade because everybody's putting on a trade now. The trade bots see that. They can see where your stop losses are too close and you've taken on too large of a position because you think it's going to moon and you want to make all the money you can. And they will crash these markets down sharply, hit everybody's stop loss, the prices drops even further, and they soak up all of those orders and away they go into their buying cycle. So this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breakout is actually a high risk time to get in, and I recommend that you do it with a very small bit of a position and add on to it if you are correct. BCH is actually made a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and because it's in this technical level right now at historical levels, when we look at the 3-month, it's actually now giving us the requirement for the trade. So we've got the breach of the bottom of the downtrend rather. We've got the double bottom in a very small term 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, but they always start out small. Then we got a breakout on a surge of a bit of volume. I would wait a bit for it to test these levels and come back, but certainly it could be a time that this is going to do something different because it has the potential to do something very big. So because everybody is really down on Roger Ver, there's a lot of selling pressure on this, but the technology itself is going to win out over a personality. This is a great trade that the Rational Investor pointed out on Twitter. He's a guy I would follow, Brian Beamish. And he pointed out, he says, just saying, look at this chart formation. And I had already purchased some, but he and I look at very similar chart patterns. Then you see the moving average crossover confirming it. And it's just time to sit now. It's easy to go back and point out the places where it was a buy signal, but it's much better to go back and say, this is where I bought. Even if you are just starting out, do little micro positions so that you have a chance to test your systems and get some confidence in what you're doing. So now this has been a profitable trade for me. I've got a lot of them, all these crossovers, all these bottom formations. I was sent out an email in March, and we were looking at this at the end of February, all the way through March, bringing up the awareness that these bottom formations were coming into play. Because it's such a simple trading system. You watch for the downtrend. When this trend line breaches, it's like alert level. As it's doing this bottom here, this is could be considered a range that is a 1 to 3 bottom in a micro scale. Everything's compressed so tightly. But as soon as there's a breakout of that and that moving average breaks, now we have prices moving out along above our moving averages. That's very bullish to just sit and do nothing. So there's a lot of preparation as the trades are coming into place. There's a lot of patience. And then once you've made that decision and the prices have proven you correct, there's nothing to do. All the way through here, if you put on that trade and the prices went down, you would have to get out right away. So there's a lot of work to do when you're first establishing a position. But once the position is profitable, now it's up to the market to show you how right you are. Here's another one. Very similar chart pattern. Again, we're looking at the 3-month or the 12-hour bars, stretching it back to more than a 3-month view so that we get some perspective on where the last bottom formation was, where are we in relation to that. Now we've got all the trading signals have come into play. So we could say this was our downtrend. I'll stretch it a bit. Here's our bottom formation, the crossover of the moving averages, and now prices are staying well above the 60 period moving average. And that's what I'll wait for a breach of. When prices breach that 60 period and the 12 and the 20 period moving average, then that's a sell signal to get out, as you can see here as this crossover happens. But even as prices breach here and breach this level, this is a really important time to be selling out of the position for my trading pattern. Bellacoin is another one that has breached the downtrend, made the 1 to 3 bottom formation, and we are just coming up to those moving averages crossing over, which would give us the actual entry signal. And since we're seeing that at historically significant levels, it becomes more important, much more important as we stretch it back to see where did this go after this long build up at very low prices. All of this stuff was looking so great back here, and we can see the pre-pump buying patterns before the big roar in prices. We're still not seeing that here yet, so a person could get in without resistance now. There's probably quite a bit of room to buy, and then start stacking on as prices are proving correct. As they come back, this is paradoxically a time to sell out and a time to add on. Have to study that more, but my goal is to hold and do nothing until after the top, after we get a 1 to 3 top formation, so that we get the uptrend line break, we get a 1 to 3 top formation and a crossover of these moving averages, and maybe even a crossover of the 1 month moving average, which is a faster time frame that would give us this signal at the same time that the trend line is broken here in the past prices. So there's my trading system over and over now coming into play, and it takes sometimes 18 months to a year between trade entries and exits because it's such a long-term trend following system, and it's lining up perfectly for these 1 to 3 bottom formations. Here's another that has broken this downtrend line, but also you could extend that out to a very significant trend line break. All of these different trend line breaks were important in this market. And I anticipate that this trend line, this 1, 2, 3 bottom, this moving average crossover at these historically significant levels is going to result in quite a large move up in this coin. You can see that if I was to take this and stand it straight up, that's what I think this market is going to do. It's going to go back up to these old highs again. So there's my prediction. I love putting these things together because I don't own any of this coin actually. Bitcoin Dark, I'm not as bullish on as Black Coin, but it is starting to make the trading signal. So that's what I have to watch for and ignore my own beliefs sometimes about the project and how that's all going, because the chart patterns reveal much more than the news can possibly get to me. So here is the breach of the trend line, the number 1 point. It's come up. I would have to wait for it to come back and make a number 2, and then but this market often breaks quickly out of these formations, so it's your call on that one. It's not something I can trade. It hasn't made my trading patterns yet. Bitmark is probably going to pump, and I said that last year. It said it's probably going to pump, though it's a coin with no use. It can pump, so you can make some profit off of it. So then I have to look for my 3 criteria. There's the trend line break. We are making a number 1 point at these historically significant levels. I would have to wait for it to come back and make a number 2 point and then surge on from there, breaking those moving average, and then it would be an entry for me. So it's still one to watch. BitShares was an entry a while ago, back in the end of March. And if we go back and compare BitShares and the 3-month moving average crossover back here in November, it was early and so showed strength before the rest of the market rallied there in December. After the 19th or the 14th of December in there, then everything all took off. Now we see that it broke the moving averages. It had the trend line break. It had the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It had the trend line crossover, all of the buy signals, and the prices have barely come back to touch this moving average. So until they touch the 60 period moving average, it's sit and do nothing on this trade. In fact, if it were to come back now and make this into a larger 1, 2, into a number 3 point, this would be a point to be buying on and adding on to it in this stage of what this market has potential to do. It's one of the most active blockchains that there are. It's got all sorts of projects running on this blockchain, and I do believe that this is going to go very much higher, so I'm happy to be holding a good bit of it. Burst coin I also own, and it was though it wasn't as easy, this did make a bottom formation. It has made the crossover. The trend line indicates that it's still within a bigger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and may take a little bit longer before it cracks higher, but it has made the basic conditions for the breach of a downtrend line, a 1, 2, 3 bottom, and this 3-month or 12-hour period moving average crossover. So I do own some. I'm sitting on it. I think that it's not as nice of a chart pattern as some of the others. This is a better chart pattern in the terms that I'm looking for, where we have the trend line break. We've got a bigger 1, 2, 3 bottom and a mini 1, 2, 3 bottom. Then we have the moving average crossover. And if we go back to a longer term view of this market, it has done some bigger moves in the past. And because of that, I think that there is going to be some market interest in this coin going up, just because it is an established blockchain. Lots of different people have ownership in it, and there's a limited supply of it. So I am betting on all of these digital assets becoming very, very much more appreciated in value. And this one could do 10 times and 10 times again. It's a huge potential in this market if it goes back to where it was. So I do own quite a bit of this, and I have it set out for lending on Poloniex at very high levels, so that when people are shorting this over the next while as it's fluctuating, I'm going to earn more, and in the next year or 8 months that I'll be growing how many clam coin I have by lending it out to all of the people who want to short it as it's making its trend on the way up. There'll be all sorts of waves of shorting and margin trading on this market. So I want to sit and do nothing and have my money work for me. I want to have that accumulate more clam coins so that when I do sell out, I will do the mathematics to show how much I earned on my clam trade and how much extra did I earn from lending clam for the months in between as the trend went on its way. Civic Coin, also a holder and a believer in the project overall, because personal identity and your privacy is going to be important. I don't know why this massive red candle at the very beginning. I don't know what that does or says in terms to the ICO prices. I don't really care. I'm always looking for the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, a smaller 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, the moving average crossover as my entry. And if I had extra Bitcoin, I would be looking to add on to this position soon. But pretty much all of my Bitcoin is established in positions. Dash. I'm personally not too bullish on all the privacy coins. They may go through a pumping wave, but I am divesting myself of the privacy coins because I think they'll be regulated eventually, and that'll cause a huge price crash. So I just don't want to even play in these markets. However, there's the downtrend. Here's our bowl-shaped 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and prices are approaching to make that moving average crossover at historically significant levels. So all of those things are my entry signals. So if I ignore the project and I'm just trading for the price patterns, this is coming close to something that I have to pay attention to. Let's go back to this standard view and go on to Decreed. It didn't make a very nice 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It just broke the trend line and went. So it didn't give me a clear buy-in signal, though I do own some of it. I think that it's got a while to go to mature. It's going to come back and retest some historical levels. Let's go back to a longer term view. So it is making a longer term triangle that I think that it's going to fluctuate around within this triangle for a while yet, to squeeze to a tighter point before it really takes off. And then take off it will, and we could stand up a line from here to here, take that and stand it straight up. That's going to be how far up it goes. Probably longer, because if I take this drawing tool off, move this over, these points have to come to touch each other before this fight is over. And then off it goes. So we'll see how that one turns out. That's a pretty interesting chart pattern. I love doing this. Here's one that looks very similar on that scale. That, let's go into the 3-month view and see if we have our criteria that I've been watching for. The downtrend line break. We could even be more generous with this downtrend line, but it's broken. This is a little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and the prices have broken above that moving average crossover. So all of the things are there except the massive volume. It's got a little bit of volume, but not the massive volume yet. So I would say that this one is going to do what I predicted for Decreed, is it'll fluctuate around within this longer term triangle before it takes off. So I think there's still a bit of time for all of these markets for them to fluctuate a little bit. Then again, we have Dogecoin, which I am doing very well in. I bought quite a bit of Dogecoin, and then I put on a margin trade for Dogecoin. So let's go in the long term. I'm going to go to the 5-year chart, one of the few charts we can do the 5-year view in, which says something of the coin itself, in that it's an established blockchain. It's got a large user base and a limited supply of coins. Even though there's a lot of them, it's a limited supply. So all those factors put together with this long-term massive volume and another massive volume here, a small uptick of volume, I do believe this project is going to go very much higher, definitely up to the previous highs, and then beyond those in the near future. So you can see a very clear increase in trade volume here. Interesting actually to see how clear it is. I put on my margin trade just a few days before that on about the 6th of April, and was very lucky to have it take off so well. It's a fantastic margin trade, and I'm still holding on to it for sure. Now I'm going to see how high it does go. This is fantastic for me to zoom into this. But we can see the downtrend line break. It was a long, flat, sort of a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. And then the moving average crossover. I got in before the moving average crossover, but still waiting for that moving average crossover still is very prudent to do. Zoom back out to the longer term. Again, I would have to say that we are going to meet some resistance in this and fight this out a little bit more on the way up. And so I'm seeing this same pattern as a possibility where prices will stay inside this triangle before they really go higher. And again, I would do a prediction using just the simple line standing up over the last range. So up to the 170 range, up to the 150 range, from just standing this line straight up, maybe the 190, 200 range. But yet there'll be some fighting going on. And my goal in my trade is to hold, even though I'm anticipating it's going to do this. I don't want to get out here, get back in here, get out here, get back in here. I just want to sit and pay the interest on that loan all that time. And then when it does hit to the 110, 115 level, then I'll take my profit. And it should be more than 1 Bitcoin profit by the time I sell out on that. So let's see how that one turns out. Fantastic. E equals MC squared. Also made a beautiful rounded bottom here. Some great pre-pump patterns. And it's easy to see the trend line break, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and the moving average crossover all occurred just the other day. And I think this one's got great up potential as well, but we still haven't seen the trade volume hit yet. It's such a light market, and one that I'm always lament that I was holding it when it was back at 40 Satoshi, and it went down to 38 Satoshi, and I couldn't hold the loss, and I sold out because of rule number 1. I've gotten back in and out of it since then, and I'm holding it again now, so all is good. That turns out to be a very good trade, and I bought into it at the end of March, just at these low levels, and sat on it as it came back into these levels. E equals M, no, Ethereum Classic, you can't deny it. It's got a beautiful rounded bottom shaping up here. The trend line, no matter where you draw it, has been broken now. It is making a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and as this moving average crosses over, that turns into a very strong buy signal. At these historical levels, it is very significant. The project has Ethereum Classic, so it's very significant chart pattern, regardless of what you may think about the project. As soon as this trade volume starts coming in, the prices are inevitably going to go up. Ethereum, we can see, had a major crack down here. I'm going to go to the 1 week view, and we can see this was a major sell down, immediately back up, and prices are just wobbling along. I have no idea what's coming next in this, but every time I've seen that spike down and prices have come up, soon prices fade off back down and they retest those levels. So I've sold a bunch of my Ethereum and moved it off into Steam, and we'll just watch this to see what's going on. I don't know. It may not be significant over the long term. So do we have the downtrend breach? Yes, we do have now a 1-2 position. It could come back and retest these levels before going up, and then we would have the moving average crossover, but nothing for a trading signal in this market. Expanse is closer to giving us the trading signal. It's got a nice big 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. The moving averages are tightening up and almost crossing over. 3 month. Zoom back. So you can see here where these moving averages crossed over. It was a good signal. When they crossed over again, that was a good signal all the way along. They've just crossed now, but and some really good, I have to say, there's some really good pre-pump volume going on here as somebody is accumulating a whack of this stuff. As the sell orders come in and pile up in the order books, they just scoop them up and wait. And as the sell orders come in and pile up in the order books, they just scoop them up and wait. So this tells me that this market is going to be going up significantly from where it is now. We've got the moving average crossover. This is a bigger 1, 2, 3 bottom. This is a very small 1, 2, 3 bottom. If I zoom into the 1 week view, zoom back a bit, you can stretch this into a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here, or a consolidation triangle with this pre-pump and these big pump things going on. I see big moves in this market. I don't know how much of it I hold, but just a little bit. Factum, I'm holding more of this. And this chart pattern in the long term absolutely looks fantastic. So first of all, we've got the long-term downtrend breach. No matter how generous I am with it, that's a downtrend breach. We've got a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and prices showing strength off the number 3 point. We do have the moving average crossover. Although it crossed over once, twice again, you would have to be paying attention to that. It's crossed over again, giving us another buy signal out of this big bull shape. Is very, very good. So I own quite a bit of this. When we look at the longer term, and I'm looking at the 1-day charts now, this is really important historical levels that we're bouncing off of right now, all the way along. So a takeoff from this point has great potential, and I would say that it not quite the old highs in the first wave, but lots of room to go to the upside, tripling in price from where it is now, in my eye. So I do own some of it, I'm holding it, and there's nothing for me to do now as it's broken out above this. But in the last little while here, if I zoom into the 3-day view, after this breakout occurred here, there was quite a bit of what I thought was manipulation to hit people's stop losses that were too close to the market. And then immediately the prices swoop up, everybody goes into long positions and the bots crash it down, and they do that until they've milked everybody out of their positions that they can before the prices take off. It's a conspiracy theory of mine, but it also helps me keep my trades small enough and with a stop wide enough that I'm not being taken advantage of and getting myself stopped out all the time in those kind of short, sharp moves. Folding coin was a trading signal a while ago. Here's the breach of the downtrend. Here's the little wee 1, 2, 3 bottom. You have to be sharp on it. And then it had the moving average crossover. So prices have been a little volatile above it, but still looking fantastic. Let's go back and see what's happened in the past. As it surges up, it may consolidate, surge up and consolidate, surge up and consolidate. So keeping a wide stop loss on this is a good idea so that you can ride this long-term trend. I think this project has good potential because it is actually doing something useful with your computing power. And you should learn more about Folding Coin. You can download the Folding Coin program and use your computer to earn Folding Coin. Flow has made a larger bottom formation. One, two, three bottom formation. the trend line roughly has been broken in a couple different ways. It's right on the edge. So this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, the trend line being broken, the moving average coming here is more important. But for this market, because of the chop it's been doing, I like the 1 year view so that we're looking at a moving average that doesn't cross over as often, and it's more significant when it does. And still, even in this, the moving average crosses over quite a bit. So a small position in this with a larger ranged stop loss would probably be a better idea than a stop loss too close because of the whipsaw in this particular market. Game, I think, is going to be another one going hugely up, and we can see massive buys here. Massive buys where somebody has come and all the sell orders are all laid out above the market, and they just scoop them up, and then they sit and wait, and then they see the sell orders, heavy big sell wall above the market. They just buy that whole block of coin, and the person who put that sell wall up is going, oh damn. So here we are in the longer term view. We can see that whatever trend line we can draw here is really being challenged or has already been broken. It's a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and in the short term we can see this trend line has been broken. We've got a little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. The moving averages are coming up close to crossing over. So it's, and then the 3-month view, my 12-hour bar view, this is what I look for. They've already crossed over and have given that buy signal. So I do own some of this, and I am just sitting back and waiting because this has shown fantastic pump in the past. And most of the cryptocurrency holders are also gamers. So I do believe that this is going to really take off. Gas, another one I have to zoom in. This one makes huge moves when it does. It's made the 1, 2, 3 bottom. It's got the trend line crossover. It's coming up right close to the 3-month moving average crossover as well. So that's all the trading signals lining up. Nothing to do but buy it and assume that you're wrong and that it's going to be going down, and sell out of that position immediately if it doesn't prove you correct to start off with. When it does prove you correct, put your stop loss above your entry position to protect yourself against a fake out breakout. And then after it's gone up a while, move that stop loss to protect some of your profit. GNO as another, like we're seeing this same pattern over and over again. More significantly, when we zoom in, we can see these kind of huge buy candles and then prices settle back down. Huge buy candles. This is telling me that the market is being absorbed by somebody with a great big bit of capital and a lot of foresight in what the market has the room to do. So it has the room to go up 5 times. It has the room to go up more than 5 times in value from where it is now. It could go 10 times in value if it goes up to historical prices in the past. GNT made a big breakout recently. We're in the 3-month view here. We can see the moving average crossed over. We have the downtrend line break. We've got the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, the moving average crossover, huge spikes of volume, and prices have done very well for those that bought in as this was coming up and we were watching for it. So by watching for this kind of circumstance all the time, then you're ready for it when it actually occurs. Each time it occurs, you see this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It's breaking the trend line. It's showing strength. These are buy signals. This is a sell signal. As soon as prices are coming back and they're touching this moving average, that's a sell signal to get out, take your profit. So you really only look for profit between here and no time invested. This is the main key, is that by trading this way, you don't have to spend as much time as I do talking about trading this method. So put in the trade, then you sit back and do nothing on this one. I would say that I would expect consolidation after this, and if it were to come back and make a little internal 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, I would be ready to add on to this position. Gridcoin Research, another wherever this downtrend line is, it's been broken. We can see a little bit of a 1, 2, 3 bottom in the different time scale, so we have to go to the 1 week view in order to see this double, triple bottom here, and then prices showing strength up and out of that. This is the bottom formation breakout that is required after the downtrend line is broken. And then I like to look at this time frame for when the moving averages cross over as an entry point confirmation. I also like to look at this time frame as the exit point confirmation as prices are coming back and touching these levels. This would be an exit point for me. Back to the 3-month view. So I do own some Gridcoin research. I don't own as much HUC coin as I should. I was looking for bullish movements from here, but it really cracked down lower. And has given us a new entry point. So now we have another place to be able to mark a downtrend line. We have another 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and another opportunity for this moving average to cross over. Since we're at these historical low levels and prices have done more than 10 times than this in the past, it's just mathematics to expose yourself to a little bit of risk in this market. Library credit. By now you're saying these things for me. Breach of the downtrend line, a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breakout. The moving average is crossed over. Those are all buy signals. And when we look back to historical time frames and where this has been versus where it's going to go now, I think it's going to be fantastic. More than 10 times your money if it just goes back to historical highs. LISC also is showing a massive slow uptrend that really can't be ignored. Now that it's done a reactionary downtrend to the rebranding, I do think this is a fantastic chart pattern. And zoom into the 3-month view, where's that moving average? So it's really consolidating at historical price levels. It's dipped down below this. We can call this downtrend wherever it is. It's been broken. Now it's just waiting for that moving average to cross over, and it's giving all of the buy signals just as it did here. It'll happen quickly. There'll be some news come out and off it'll go, and it's primed for that now. Litecoin. Also, I'd have to say, giving us an incredibly important historical level and showing strength off of that just now. So is this downtrend broken? Has this trend line broken? It's hard to say. I would have to be more generous and take it from this kind of range. This is a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. The moving average hasn't crossed over, so it's showing consolidation that it's going to be making a big move one way or another, and I don't imagine it's going to be going downward. I think this is going to be catching up to Bitcoin and taking another order of magnitude step higher from here. An order of magnitude is 10 times. There's the 1-year view. Here's the 3-month view. And I do own a good bit of Litecoin that I have over on Bitfinex and set out for lending. MadeSafe coin has always been one of my favorites, though I'd really lost quite a bit of money as prices were coming down here. I reestablished my positions and I've done well on it. Let's go through those trading signals because they're all over this chart. There's the downtrend. Even if you were to do a different downtrend here, the downtrend has been broken. We did a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. We have a capitulation low here, so prices really spiked down. People got panicked and sold everything. Then prices have shown a steady increase from there. If we go to the 1-year view and zoom back even further, we can see that we are at historical significant levels. Making that bottom formation really has the potential to go very much higher, and I think very, very much higher, because the project has moved along all this way. They've changed over to Rust. They've got all of the things that they've accomplished. They're so much closer to actually launching this network that this is a prime opportunity. I'm very happy to be heavily invested in this coin. Nav coin 3-month view. So here's our downtrend line broken. There's our 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, the moving average crossover. All of the requirements are there. It doesn't have as much volume of these spikes that I would like to see in April, but it's very bullish. All of these factors all put together. Zoom out, sorry. And we have a very slow uptrend line in this too, where this is going higher lows all the way. It really appears to me that this is going to be going for a joyride here right away. And I do own some of this. Really good chart pattern. Let's go on to NEOS. Over and over again, there's so many beautiful chart patterns right now that completely match my trading signals. No matter where you put this downtrend, it's been broken. We've got a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. We have these big spikes of accumulation, and then the prices have dropped back. So when we move this chart back in time, we can see that same kind of pattern was occurring, but it could take a long time before we get a big surge going on. 1 year view. Really fantastic, historically significant levels here. It is a wonderful chart pattern to be buying into. Let's zoom into the 3-month view. That I see, yeah, the moving average has crossed over. Really great. Fantastic. And I do own 2,500 plus of these coins because I want to run a masternode. Namecoin I never had much use for, but every time I say that, then the price takes off. So it has done all of the trading requirements, and I have to just pay attention to that and not what I think about the market itself. There's the breach. There's our 1, 2, 3 bottom. Here is the big accumulation candles going on. So everything's there for buying now and getting ready to sell out at a higher level. Because I would say that this coin, I don't know what use it has compared to others. So it could be my lack of education. Here again, NXC is broken this downtrend. We could call this a 1, 2, 3 bottom, but it's better to call it a, let me change to a yellow, better to call it a bowl shape pattern here. That big bowl shape and a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom indicates to me that this price is going to go way higher than it is now. I want to go to a longer term view. So 2 to 10, it's still got 5 times room, and it's still within historical levels. And I think everything is going to go past historical levels because of the way we are with education about cryptocurrencies and bigger players getting involved in it now that there are some regulation and some Security and Exchange Commission coming in and cleaning up some of the bad actors. It gives more confidence for investment funds to put their money into the space. We can see some accumulation going on here. A long, low bowl shape. The moving average crossed over. We could call this a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. And in the very shorter term, it does break that downtrend line. All of the requirements and lots of room. A little position in this may be prudent. I don't know how much higher it'll go or how much time it'll take in this market, but it's making all of the trading requirements. So I really try to take my opinion out of it, and if it does these requirements, I put the trade on and see what happens afterwards. I'm always ready to sell out if it doesn't prove me correct immediately. OMG, I think we haven't begun to see this coin. Just from this chart here, in the last 6 or 8 months, it looks to me like it could go straight up the length of this. And I do own a good amount of this, and it's also on Bitfinex out for lending. Lots of trade volume going on this. When I zoom into the 1 month view, there's our huge candles of buys, and then the market settles down again. So it does look like this is in a big accumulation pattern in the longer term, and is going to go very much higher than what it is. The moving averages on this one are tougher to call because it didn't do the long-term downtrend and the formation that we see many of the others it's been a lot more range in it. So then I want to go to a longer term moving average to try to smooth that out a little bit. But no matter which way I go, there's the buy signal out of that 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and this is our downtrend line in a very short term. 3-month. Omni has had some great candles to the upside and a massive candle to the downside, a couple massive candles to the downside. Maybe the big players trying to shake out the little players. I don't know, but those volume patterns speak a lot. If I say that this downtrend has been broken, we do have the bottom formation break, we have the moving average crossover, all of the conditions are in for a buy, and this market has done some fantastic moves in the past, so it may have potential. I don't know enough about the project, but seeing this chart pattern is really all I need to see to take a position in the market. Pascal, another one, beautiful 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. You can see this downtrend line is easily broken. And the moving averages are now coming to a close to crossing over. So this is a beautiful combination of chart pattern. If I go to the 1 year view, it's got some great upside potential if we ignore that first bit that came in. So another great buy. Pink coin, we're seeing a very long triangle formation. I don't even know what I clicked on there. Oh, charts by trading view. Very big triangle accumulation pattern. There was some big buying here, and then it settled and quieted down. Let's zoom into the 1 month view and see what we see for trading volume spiking and then coming back down. So those kind of areas really are fantastic. This could come back and retrace to come back inside this triangle, but it could just take off from here. So a small position in this, looking at the longer term, gives an idea that pink coin has got some real upside potential. It's a very thinly traded market. It wouldn't take much to pop this one. Pot coin, I think, is going to have a better future than we're imagining, and it is making a great formation. It's already broken a pretty mechanical looking downtrend right to historical lows. It's made a, now we could call this a bigger, it's a little wee 1, 2, 3 bottom formation over a couple week period here. Now we could call this a bigger one, number 1 point, number 2 point, and a break above that is a buy. And I think it's got a greater long-term potential because it is for the marijuana industry, and it will get a footing and a following just because of that. Whoops. Potcoin. Here's another one that's looking fantastic. It's a really great looking chart. Look at those candles of buy orders. If we go into the shorter term view, they look red because they sold it right back down to below the entry point where they bought. But those are all big buy candles where everything that was for sale above the market was just scooped up, and then they stopped buying and they're just waiting. This is a longer term bowl shaped 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. We've already seen the moving average crossover, so strength on this one is a buy signal. Let's go to the 1 year view. Long term, it has made a big move in the past. It really reacted well in December and has come back to really a great trading entry signal. Really fantastic. So many of them matching up what my trading signals are that as soon as you look at the chart, you can just see the downtrend 1, 2, 3 bottom moving average crossover and the larger 1, 2, 3 bottom at historical significant levels. And you just have to act on it. You just have to take the risk, the calculated risk on these kind of moments because of historical evidence of what happens. So the moving average, the downtrend line has been broken. We've got a tightening of prices that could be called a 1, 2, 3 bottom, and the moving average is getting close. So it's not quite the signal yet, but this is how to watch for it, is to say, okay, it's getting close. Keep your eye on it, keep your eye on it, keep your eye on it. When it crosses over, that's the time to take the action. And here's why this is a difficult market to trade. RIC coin. Now it's getting a little bit clearer, but if we call these all those pre-pump buys, it's hard to say. There was a lot of volume on the sells too. At any rate, I do believe that this is going to be going very much higher. We have this as a massive bowl shape. We've got the historically significant levels. Overall, if we ignore those pumps, we can see that this is a big triangle. An RIC coin does have an actual project attached to it that is working. SBD is giving the trading signal. I can't ignore it. It's giving a bowl shape. It's got a flat top. It's already crossed over the moving averages. It looks like it's going to be jumping and surging much higher from where it is. And I don't know enough about this market. I made a lucky trade in it one time, and then it just it wasn't doing what I was figuring it should do all the time. So I don't know enough about this specific market, and yet when it makes this trading signal, I've got to act on it. Zoom in. So it's already crossed over. It has made a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation now. So those three things put together would give me the confidence then to be buying on strength here. Coin made the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation some time ago. We have the breach of the downtrend line. No matter how generous you are, the trend line broke. 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. There's the buy signal. And off it goes. Prices are above both moving averages, and it's just time to sit and hold and see what happens. It's probably going to consolidate again before continuing on the surge. Up, consolidate a bit, and then up on the next leg of the surge. But still a great market to have watched for that trading signal. Steam making a much larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and triangle this way, especially when we're taking a longer term view of it. Now it's got the potential to do some moves higher, but I do think this will take a longer term to play itself out. I think that there's going to be more fighting within this triangle before this finds itself really taking off. So if we extend these triangles forward, just basic technical analysis, this is where the crowd is already fighting things out. A break above that would give us a move that would be equivalent to this length here. So it would be a very big move way back up to unexpected levels. But it'll take a while, I'm thinking. Storage coin is harder for me to do the analysis on because they switched over to a Ethereum token. But even at this rate, we can see that this downtrend line has been broken. We've got a little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here and the moving average crossover. So we'll see how this one goes, but I think this project is fantastic. In fact, I own a bunch of hard drives that I'm running storage on. STR definitely going up higher from here. It's gone past my buy entry. So the buy entry was this breach of the downtrend, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, the consolidation, and right in here was the buy entry. So it's a little bit ahead now for me to be buying in, though I think it's still bullish. It's already past where my buy entry could be. So then I can't trade this market. I can't jump into something that doesn't have my pattern. This Stratus is looking like it's going to take off, and it's still within my trading pattern range that I could be justifying buying on further strength out of this formation. Especially when I go back to a longer term view and see where this lands up in the long term. This is very bullish, hugely bullish from here. A breach of this, and it really predicts old highs coming back from where it is. So our moving average crossed over. It's a really great looking trade. Just another fantastic looking trades. 1 year view of this market in order to get the perspective to see the longer term view of it and the momentum in the market, but the trade was more difficult. A little bit of a downtrend, a bit of a bottom formation, no moving average crossover yet. This one's a harder one to trade by my system. Via coin, because it had the manipulation earlier, I took it off my list to watch for, but if we ignore that, it's broken that downtrend, it's made the bottom formation, and the moving averages is coming close to, has crossed over on this time frame. So if I ignore this manipulation here, it has made the trading signal already. And strength above this would continue another trading signal as well, if you were really believing in the project. VRC, also making a really good formation. When we get back to that, is broken this downtrend line. It's making the internal one, this little 1, 2, 3 bottom. It's a very small, but you could also call this a bowl shape formation. So strength above this and a moving average crossover would be a good buy signal. In the long term, for what this market has done in the past, that is looking good with some hesitation. It doesn't look as good as some of the others. VTC is looking better than what we just saw. We've got the downtrend break, we've got the 1, 2, 3 bottom. We just have to watch for that moving average crossover, and on this time frame it has crossed over. This would have been difficult because this is giving us all those signals here too. 1, 2, 3 bottom, breaking higher, the moving average crossover, and then down it goes. So we have to always be vigilant that this is just a fake out breakout and things are going to continue on downward. But it is giving that trading signal again, where I would have to get out of the trade here because it's not proving me correct anymore, and then I'd have to try again here and do the same. If it doesn't prove me correct, then I get out. XBC 3-month view. So it's a little bit of a bottom formation. We see these big buy candles. It has broken this very mechanical looking downtrend, and the moving averages are coming over to cross over. So all of those things put together make this market look great, and it's done some really crazy things in the past. So a small position in this might be a good idea. We see some big pumps back in November. It didn't do the same run in December as everything else did. So I'm leery, but it does have the trading signal. So a small bit of a position would be called for. Bowl shape formation, not much of the 1, 2, 3 bottom, not much of a downtrend with enough tests of it to make it a clear trend. Moving average hasn't crossed over yet. 1-year view, long-term view, we are at historically significant levels. A break above this would be bullish, but it's not made my trade. Okay, when I zoom into my time frame on the 12-hour bars, there's our little 1, 2, 3 bottom. It's a bowl shape at the same time. It has made the moving average crossover. All the requirements are there for a small position. We are seeing some candles of buying, so I have to put my bias aside against that market and pay attention to my trading rules. Here's another one that I bought into earlier and held all the way this sideways. Made the moving average crossover. It's inside the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It has broken the downtrend line, and so it is shaping up to be a buy signal. In the long term, it is also, it's bounced off a significant level from the long term past. So it's looking good, though there could be additional. It's hard to say. It's looking good. And when I go back into my 12-hour bars, it has already crossed over. So it is a buy signal, especially on further strength from here. XMR just made a big move I wasn't anticipating. I'm seeing that it breached a very long-term uptrend, made a top formation and came down. So even though we've got strength off of this, there's still so much up top here that is a top formation for me, that it's not a trading market I can buy into. I do own a little bit and lending it out on Bitfinex, but again, it's one of those privacy coins that I think that there's going to be legislation. They're just going to slam down because nobody's going to want to, no legal people are going to be using it. This market looks fantastic. just from this view, we can see a huge triangle, massive volume off the last little bit here, and we're on the 1-day charts. So if we zoom into the 12-hour charts, we can see the moving average has already crossed over and stayed above the long-term, above the short-term moving average all the way through this triangle. With these huge buys candles, it is all like fantastic. You can't say, I can't find a better trading signal for my system. This is really a great trading signal. Many of them coming in right now. A lot of strength coming in right now. I'm quite enjoying the markets. Ripple also showing strength, though it's past my trading signal. So if I go into the 3-month view, so we're seeing the 12-hour bar, it did break this downtrend line. It did make a lazy 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here, or a big bowl shape pattern. The moving average has crossed over. All of those signals say to have a little bit of this at least. XVC, this is a privacy coin. It has made a bottom formation. We are at really historically significant levels. At the lowest it's been almost all the way along. Every time it's hit off this, it's at least spiked up. The moving average, it doesn't give me a nice enough 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. The moving average hasn't crossed over yet. And I sold the coin that I have in this because it's a privacy coin. Now this privacy coin, Zcash, is looking better in the chart pattern now. Everybody was all calling for it to moon at this time, and it really faded off. They thought really faded off. Now though, it's making a better formation. Let's go into the 3-month view. We can see that this downtrend has been broken, however you want to slice it. It's given us a bowl shape and almost a little double bottom shape here. The moving averages are coming close to crossing over. So all those things put together give this a trading signal for my system. A break above that is very significant and would be a trading signal to buy some. Zoom into this one is difficult. It wasn't an easy one to trade, though I did buy some. Trying to look for historical price levels and the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, the moving average crossover. All the things are there, but it wasn't very big. It was a very small 1, 2, 3 bottom. We've got a couple of those big buying candles and prices are taking off from there. Even where it is, it's still a strong signal, though it may bounce around a little bit. I really think this market is going to be taking off more. Now, another thing I want to do is bring down this and take a look at gold and silver right now. Silver prices are taking off, and I closed a 1-to-1 leverage position I have here. I closed that at a minuscule profit so that people who were following my trades didn't take a loss. And then I took that money and I slammed it all into a 10 times leverage position, which now is in the profit, immediately in the profit. And the reason for that, this is the 1-hour bar. Let's go to the 1-week view. The 1-week view in this chart. A huge consolidation pattern going on. In the weekly view. So now if I zoom into the 1-day view and see where those lines shape up, we can see that there is our 1, 2, 3 bottom formation in the dailies, and the prices are just breaking out of this consolidation that I identified as the takeoff point. So it's a little early actually for the entry. Let's go, what was that 12-hour bar? This doesn't give me an option for a 12-hour bar. But you can imagine that it's going to be a little bit clearer, this consolidation formation. Let's go to the 4-hour bar and zoom all the way back out. So it was this consolidation pattern that I was eyeing as the bottom, 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 all the way along. And now that it's taken off, it is absolutely fantastic. So I'm very happy about that. Whoops. Gold as well. I have leveraged positions, 10 times leverage in gold, and they're turned out profitable right now. Here's Bitcoin and Ethereum versus US dollar on Coinbase. So we're looking at the 1 hour view. Let's go to the 4 hour view and zoom all the way back out. What I'm going to do is minimize this, and I'm going to go to Bitfinex, Bitcoin US dollar, and it's easy to see in hindsight where these trading signals are, but this is the one that I was paying attention to. Go into the 3-month view. There's our break of the downtrend. Here's our little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation at historically significant levels. So there's your buy signal as prices are breaking out above this. There's the buy signal. Now we're looking for, am I in the 3-month view? Now we're looking for another buy signal on a breach above this longer term downtrend. And I do expect that we're going to see a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom position before the prices break above this. So I think that they will follow along down this trend line until they meet up with this area, and then it's going to be taking off. 1 year view. And now let's zoom in this way. 3-month view, a little bit of a future. So this is where I'm expecting that the number 2 point will actually, it'll fight around for a bit, come back, even retest these levels, and all of the shorts will go crazy. They'll think that their day has come, and then they're going to have a really rough day. So this is what I'm thinking for Bitcoin right now, and if it breaks higher than this, then all that is off, and this is a whole new level of support. If prices do break higher, then all the way along here now becomes a massive level of support. So we're really at a key point, and they're still not turned around enough for a full bull signal on this yet. There is the massive review of everything all again, just to have a recording of the thoughts of the markets at this time for each of those different markets, so that we can go back and study them anytime in the future and see what I was actually thinking, and how does it match up against the simple trading plan, so that you get an idea in your mind of how to implement this trading plan yourself. No matter when you are watching this video, you can always learn from how to analyze this trading signal, especially at this kind of time when things are just taking off and breaking out. This is the time to be taking those calculated risks. So if I go back to the BitShares chart, in the long term, this is looking really good. We go into the 1 month view, and we see this is a real tight consolidation after quite a big move. I don't know if it's going to come back and retest these levels and make a larger move, but if it does break above, sort of like that rule there in Bitcoin, that if it does break above this level, it turns into a massive level of support at that time, and we would probably see it jump up a little bit and come back to hit this support level before continuing on the trend. So we've got a couple really important key levels here that the market could swing around in. But the most important thing is the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, moving average crossover after that downtrend line break. There's the buy signal. Now it's time to sit back and wait and to see when to add on. So look for those markets that are just making the buy signal and pay most attention to those. If this breaks above here, it's a whole new game, and we have to analyze it all differently again. Dogecoin. Let's see what happens in this. MadeSafe coin. I want to zoom in on this, and I want to do a different indicator. that I had drawn, and then I asked, what would you do in this trade? What would you do? It was right here. What would you do in this trade? I think it was right about this moment. What would you do in this trade? Prices came back. Let's zoom in, and I'll talk about what I actually did in this trade. I took a margin long position here, and then I closed at that margin long position here at a profit, because I was traveling and I didn't want to be holding something that could go against me. I own a lot of MadeSafe coin already, so having a margin trade in MadeSafe coin is pushing it beyond risk rules that I want to follow. So I stepped out of that trade, and now you can see that if I'd held it, it would have turned out to be much better. And is it time to put on another margin trade? I'm not going to. I'm just going to sit and watch, even though I know if I did put on a margin trade, it looks like it's going to be taking off and I would make even more money. I don't want to over risk things. I don't want to have to be watching the charts all the time. Now that I'm in a profitable position with so many of these coins, I just want to sit and watch them for the top formation to see when to get out of it. So this is just breaking out again some more. If I go to the 1-day view, why do I have a better chart up there? 3-day view. 1 hour bars. 4 hour bars. Okay, here's the 1 hour bars. This chart says 62, the other one says 63, so definitely taking off. And it's been a fantastic trade to have entered at 41 Satoshi. Now we're at 62 Satoshi. The profits are probably more than a half a Bitcoin now. And I have to go and check my phone to see that. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching all the way through. Good luck in all of your cryptocurrency trading and all of your micro investing that is going to make money work for you while you're doing other things.